In this video, I'm going to show you how to give her full throttle and not give her too hard in a free-for-all setting. So each of these races are back to back to back from the KART Clash 3 finals, which in itself was one hell of an uphill battle for me. So let's just start giving her, bud. So getting down to it, we got GBA Ribbon Road, and this was an interesting race from my perspective since I was able to make up for my misplays in a safe manner most of the time. And as a result, this race actually turned out really well for me. So as you can see, not only was there a green bouncing around, but Squids was also holding a green as I was catching up to him. So as a result, my first instinct was to activate my boo so I don't get hit by anything. Now in theory, I could have held my boo for a more extended period of time, but because of the randomness that greens can have, alongside knowing that I could potentially steal Squids' green and have double protection, I think using my boo then and there was ultimately the right decision. Okay, this may not look like anything significant at first glance, but this is an example of taking advantage of an opportunity, which is something you need to do very frequently in this game. Now previously, I had to redirect myself away from getting lag trailed, but as soon as I was taking better lines than Ale, while simultaneously not being in a likely position to get lag trailed, I took advantage of the opportunity to pass them safely. The point I'm trying to make here is that you have to take advantage of every opportunity given to you, otherwise you might be getting screwed over. Now, shrimping in the first was a significant risk on my part, because beyond setting myself up to get blued, I also set myself up to get redded since I had no protection, along with only being able to pick up a single box in the next set. But even so, this led to the best play I made in the finals. So just watch this. So as you can see here, I hit the Mecha Koopa in order to avoid getting hit by the blue and take less time to get back up to speed. But this also allowed me to position myself where I would avoid Darky's horn no matter what. Now because I hit the Mecha Koopa, Darky had to take a wide line to avoid the blue explosion. So when I acknowledge this, I plan to stay to the left and slow down just enough so that Darky can pass me without getting the opportunity to horn me. And as you can see here, it worked like a charm. And I barely lost any speed, and I was still able to maintain seconds. So Darky is trilling a banana, and he can also see that I have a mushroom. Now, considering we're coming up to the final set, my first thought is that Darky would backspam his banana on the shortcut before the last set of boxes, which is why I went the wide way. And sure enough, as you can see here, he did. Now, I don't know if the banana would have been in a position where I would likely hit it, but regardless, it was definitely the right play to take the safe route. In doing so, I was barely able to snag the win. It was definitely a risk throwing my red as soon as I got out of the shortcut, but I knew I would be in a position where throwing my red wouldn't punish me in any way, shape, or form. So following a full throttle race on Ribbon Road, we got Ice Outpost. And again, all three races I'm analyzing are back to back to back, which is why I'm starting in first here. In any case, this race was all over the place for me, but I think I could have done a lot of things better. It was pretty unlucky for me to get redded out of first, but I was still able to limit the damage done. Because I got hit on a glider, I was still accelerating forward a little bit. So the main takeaway from this is that if you're in a position where you can take a hit on a glider section and have no drawbacks whatsoever, you should always do whatever it takes to get hit before you land. Okay, long story short, I did a terrible job here. Now, this may just be me, but I feel like it's easy to look back productively consistently at one point, but at another point, it's easy to forget to look back in critical places. And this was definitely a critical place to look back. You have to try your best to get into the habit of checking your rear view after a turn, because items typically go crazy on straights like the one here. So if you can optimize the throttle and use the rear view to the best of its ability, you'll be giving her. So take this as an example of me not giving her hard enough. Now you can see here that I'm witnessing stuff that isn't very poggers for JPGivin'er. So I chose to take the yellow path at the beginning here, and this paid off big time. So Bapu hitting 2 people meant if I were on the green path, I would run into both of them. And this would be terrible for me because as you can see here, Ember has a horn. And despite being on the yellow path, I was still in a position where I could get horned if, say, Ember were to go on the yellow path or just be close enough to me while I'm on the yellow path where he can hit me. So in order to prevent this from happening, I used my shroom and I'm safe from any damage that could have been done to me. Okay, so at this point, I could see that Bapu wasn't going for the double shortcut, so I chose to take out one of his boomerang shots with my red. And this was definitely a risk because I didn't know if I would pull protection or a mushroom. So I think the best play would have been to just hold my red, and you'll see why soon enough. Unfortunately for me, my red broke on the corner, and I was all but certain I would pull a coin at the following set, so I was in a pretty rough situation. The only thing that came out of this was my reaction timing for the blue, and even then, it might have just been better for me to take the blue shell. So because I dropped it out of first, combined with only having a coin, I got green shelled. And at this point, I thought I could at least still salvage a decent spot, but it got worse. And here come the fireballs. I was still able to get 8, but I could have played that ending sequence so much better. If I didn't throw my red at Bapu, if I didn't trail immediately, if I didn't drop out of first, then just maybe I could have done better. Yes, my song choice for Baby Park is Mystic Mansion. Look, I don't care. But seriously, nothing too significant happened this race, but I want to bring up a topic that many people don't take into enough consideration, and that's invincibility. Now, it may not mean much to you at first, but it is crucial to think about it near the end of the race. And on a track like Baby Park, where items are stupidly unpredictable, and you never know when you might get hit, using a star at the right time could be the difference between you getting first or last. In this race, I was able to continuously chain items that give me invincibility to put me in a situation where if a shock were to come, I would dodge it no matter what. And it paid off big time for me. So as you can see here, we're at the end of lap 5, and we're starting to get into the time where shocks are used almost every race. So now knowing this, I used my star in the mini grass cut, which would leave me invincible for about a lap. And because my situational luck was insane, I pulled a Bill at the set I chained my triple shrooms. I'm not going to deny that this was a super lucky pull, but I knew that this allowed me to be invincible for almost the entirety of the race. But then, by releasing my inner French, I pulled a SAR, and this guaranteed me invincibility for the rest of the race, no matter what happens. So as soon as my star was about to run out, I used my Bill. And at this point, you're probably thinking I'm guaranteed to get first place. But unfortunately, I couldn't do anything about the Bill landing since it landed me shortly after getting in the first. So I finished the race in second. But the biggest takeaway from all of this is that by abusing invincibility, specifically at the end of the race, you'll have so much more success in the long run. So instead of doing your average thanks for watching, like, subscribe, blah, 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 I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about my future plans. Now, I took longer to upload this video because I wanted to focus on ending my last week of school as strong as I could. And now that I'm pretty much done with school, I want to put a ton of work into YouTube. And I want to do as much as I can before I begin university. But regardless, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you should definitely subscribe and turn notifications on. And if you think I can improve my videos in any way, shape, or form, let me know in the comments. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a fantastic day and keep on giving her, bud.